Hello and welcome to the folks who just jumped on. My name is Karen Taradas. I'm with Social U, and today we're going to talk about Instagram. I'd love to know if you can hear me. If you would just send me a message on chat so that I can make sure that you can hear me okay. And we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, I like to talk about why you do what you do. So here's just a quick overview of stats about why it's important for you to be on Instagram. One of the most important reasons, of course, is if you're trying to appeal to a younger audience, younger under the age of 30, Instagram is where they spend their time, and 74% of consumers really do rely on social media before they make a purchase decision. So that is important for everybody to know. That's why you have the presence that you have online. There are 600 million total users on Instagram, 300 million a day. So you have a huge audience to appeal to. It's, again, it's important that you have a presence there. Top brands are seeing a per follower engagement rate of 4.21. I think these numbers are crazy. It's 58 times higher than Facebook and 120 times higher than Twitter. You're going to see instant interaction on Instagram that you will not see on Facebook, and your posts will last longer. There's a longer shelf life on Instagram than there is on Facebook most of the time. And if you tag somebody in your post, it's going to be even better than that. And I'm going to show you how to do that today too. If you want, when you go back through and watch the presentation, I included the URL for these facts and stats about Instagram. Of course, you can read. I won't read them to you, but I thought that might be interesting or fun. Yeah, fun for me to share with you guys if you wanted to go ahead and check those out. All right. In a nutshell, this is how you post and interact on Instagram. It's just a quick little hit list about you download, follow, how to use tabs and photos, edit, tag, and share. And I'm going to go over this one step at a time, but this is just a little snapshot of what we're going to cover. All right. Everything on Instagram is done on your phone. So I use screen captures to show you what you need to do. So very first thing you're going to do is go to the app on your phone. It's important that you have it installed. I will tell you the second most important app for you for Instagram is Reposts, and I have those both on my home screen because I use them all the time. When you open it up, you're going to see your home screen just like you do on Facebook. It's what you see when you follow other people. You see stories across the top, and we're going to talk about stories a little later. And then in the actual body of the of your phone, it's your home feed, and you'll see posts by all the folks that you follow. And if you look at the post individually, you have options here. Your description is going to be below it. The hashtags are below it. You can like it by clicking on the heart. You can make a comment by clicking on the bubble, or you can send this and share it with a friend by clicking on this arrow here. And it works a lot like Facebook Instant Messenger. You can share posts. You can send instant messages back and forth just like you would through Facebook. Or you can save this post by clicking on this little bookmark tab right here. Once you go to, and let me, you get to this screen by clicking on your icon on the bottom right hand side. This is your personal profile. We were on the home screen, and you get back to that by clicking on the home button right there. But this is your personal profile. These are your own posts, your own information. It tells you how many posts, your followers, how many people are following you. You can get to your settings right here. You can edit your profile. And a lot like Twitter, you have a very limited amount of space to tell people what you do and who you are. So you really need to make it matter. And you have the capability to have one active hashtag. And this is where you need to use it, right here in your profile. So it needs to be the most important hashtag you have. The icons across the top, the first two just tell you how you want to look at your own posts. I like to see mine in a grid form, in a matrix, so that I can see. I like visual diversity, and it helps me to be able to see what's going on, so I like to view them like this. If you click this one, they each show up individually like they do on your home feed, one after the other. This little bookmark tells you, this icon tells you your notifications. It tells you if someone has liked something that you've posted, commented on something you've posted, or most importantly, if they've mentioned you personally or your business in one of their posts. And then this is where you go to look at your saved, your bookmarked items. If you go to the, and let me show you that again, this icon right here shows you when people have mentioned you. So if it has a little red dot on it, it tells you that you have a notification, and you open it up. These are photos of you where you've personally been mentioned or called out by name, and it'll show you where all those different posts are. It's really helpful if you have someone who's closing on their house, or you have someone who's selling their house and they mention you and they have a great image of themselves, for sale sign or the sold sign. You can share that here. It's great for reposting as well. Okay, saved. The bookmark icon, the one on the far right hand on the top of your profile, this is all the posts that you've saved for using later. And I post for several different companies, several different vendors, so I save a lot of different things, and this is where you can go to get them all. You also now have the ability to create collections. So if I wanted to create a collection for CT Real Estate, I can have one for that. If I wanted to do one for Get a Real Estate Life, I can have one for that. If I was posting for Golf USA, I could have one for that, and that way I don't get them all mixed up, because if you save a bunch, it's going to look like Pinterest. It's going to be a mess, and you're going to have stuff everywhere. So collections becomes a lot more important the more stuff that you save. Okay, how to post. If you want to post across the bottom of your, and this will come up on any screen, let me go back real quick, there is a plus sign on the bottom of your screen. When you hit the plus sign, you have two choices. You can take a picture, or you can use a picture that is saved. I like to use saved pictures because I want my posts to be a little bit more calculated. I want them to have the biggest bang for their buck. So I like images that I can use that will get the most eyeballs. So normally I use saved images, and this is just a sample. I used one for Memorial Day, and it will pull up the first image that you have saved, although it will pull up your entire library. So I could add more if I wanted to. And these little icons down here will tell you what your other options are. You can do a single image, and this button will help adjust it to the screen size. So if you think it's taking up too much space and you need to back it up a little bit, you can click here to adjust. Your other options are layout, which is that it helps you do more than one. You can have images on top of each other, side to side, a grid. You just take your finger and slide through right here and find the ones you want, and then you click to replace the image. It's really simple. You also have the capability to select multiple images. If you select this button, you could pick more than one image across the button and use, I think, up to 10. And people will just see the top one unless they decide to slide through. So you have layout here and you have multiple here. So let's go back to our single picture. Here's your single picture. When you hit next, your very next option is going to be a filter. I do not like filters. I like the picture to look exactly like how it's supposed to look. There are some companies that use a unique filter so that they can create a certain look and feel for their brand. I really, just unless that's something that appeals to you and you're going to be consistent with it, I would say leave the filters alone and just go through that screen. The next screen you have is where you add your information, your captions. You're going to say whatever you're going to say, and you're going to add your hashtags. And we're going to talk about hashtags a little bit later, but the easiest way to add hashtags is if you have them saved in your notes section of your phone or saved in an email of your phone, and you can copy and paste them instead of having to write them out every single time. It can get a little tedious. Once you have your captions and you have your hashtags, you can also tag specific people, and it works just like it does on Facebook. You start typing the @ symbol and then their name, and it will pull up a list of everyone who matches that. So you can select from the list to tag a specific individual. So I started typing, and that my person came up, so I touched the name, and now that person will get a notification that they've been mentioned in this post. Like on their notifications, they'll get that little red dot. The next option you have, you can tag people in the photo without tagging them in the comments, but they're going to get the same notification. You can add a location if you want to. If you're at an open house and you're taking open house photos, adding a location is a good idea. And of course, you want to make sure that it feeds into Twitter. You want to make sure all roads lead to Twitter, your Facebook page, your Pinterest, your Instagram feed. It's a great way to build a Twitter following in a passive way without having to spend a ton of time on Twitter itself. And then your post comes out just like this. And when it's the very first, when you do it, it'll be the very first thing that shows up on the screen. And of course, it'll go into the feed just like everything else. So as other people post, it'll push it down. And this is what it looks like when you get done. Really simple. Okay, let's talk about how to work, use Instagram specifically for business. It's important that you have your notifications turned on so that if somebody's talking to you, you can actually get the information. And you do that by going to settings, and right here where it says push notification settings, make sure it's turned on. And that way you'll get that little red dot on your Instagram when people are talking to you. If you have a business account, you'll also get a notification through your Facebook Pages Manager, which is a brand new feature they just started doing. I like it very much because you get the Facebook notifications faster than you get the Instagram notifications, and I like to stay on top of things. You want to make sure you're connected to other social media platforms. Twitter is the most important. I do not like, it's a personal pet peeve of mine for folks to post multiple posts from Instagram to Facebook because your audiences are very different. You have, it's a different look and feel. And if you post from Instagram to Facebook, your hashtags don't translate. Most of your Facebook users don't get into hashtags, and it bogs them down. And you're going to wear your audience out if you keep posting the same thing over and over from one platform to the other. They won't have a reason to go from one to the other, so they'll just quit following one. So try to keep it unique and only feed into Twitter. It's okay to mix business and pleasure. Instagram and Pinterest are similar this way. It's okay to let people see behind the curtain and show them a little bit of your personality. It helps them relate to you. Nobody's ever said, you know, man, Jenny, I can't stand her, but she sells a good house. They have to like you personally in order to want to work with you. And letting them see a little bit of your personality is a good idea. You also want to cultivate a following. I call it the rule of 3. You want to like 3 posts, comment on 3 posts, follow 3 people. Some people will follow everyone who follows them. I don't agree with that. There's too many spammy users out there. Be selective in what you follow. Be selective in what you do. But please comment, like, engage. The more you engage, the more people will engage you. Video. This little video for a local vendor, in 24 hours it was seen 1,600 times. Video works, especially on Instagram. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a boomerang video. I'm going to tell you about that in just a little bit too. It could be 10 seconds or 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be long to be effective. Okay, side note, best times to post. It's going to vary from industry to industry and from vendor to vendor. The best thing I can tell you is to post consistently for a 7 to 14 day period and see if it works, and then try a different time. I have discovered for me, for what I do, most of the time mornings are the best. Between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m. are the best times to post. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays are high traffic days. I like to get on for sure on Saturdays. Some people have a lot of luck in the afternoons. I haven't had as much luck in the afternoons unless it's a food-based company like a restaurant. But you need to do a little bit to figure out what works for you. And when you're very first getting started, 3 is the minimum number of times to post a week, but you really need to post every day about 6 times a week. Sunday's kind of flat. It might be a great day for you, but I haven't had a ton of luck on Sunday. So 6 times a week for me is normally Monday through Saturday. All right, apps. Instagram has great apps that can make your life so much easier. Repost is the absolute best one. Here's a quick overview, but I'm going to walk you through real quick, picture by picture. When you find an image, and let's say I found this, I love it, I want to repost it on my page. These little dots in the upper right-hand corner, you touch those dots, and this screen will pop up. Where do you want to share it? I'm going to copy share the URL right here. Then I'm going to go, then it'll tell me the link has been copied to your clipboard. I'm going to come out of Instagram and go to my repost app, and it'll show up on the very top. So then I can click it right there, and this will show. It'll give you the repost block on the bottom. You can move it around to the top or the left. I think that's ugly. I don't want to mar the picture, so I paid a fee for this free app. I think it's $3. It's not expensive, so that you can click on having no visible repost link in the picture. I like that a lot better. So I'll click on that one, and the image will go away, and I can have just the picture by itself. Now, you're going to take your finger and you're going to hold it down on the image for a couple of seconds. And the reason you do that is it copies the information so you can paste it into your own post. Now, once you've done that, you click the repost button at the bottom, right here, and then this screen will pop up. Where do you want to repost it? You click on Instagram, and it comes up just like a regular post. You click next, and then you hold it down, you touch it with your finger, and everything will paste from the original post, and you can edit it or not edit it. But after that, it's just a regular post. All right, your next application that's going to be super effective is hashtags or tags for likes. Hashtags are very important. They're the reason you get the information you get. The eyeballs you get to your post is if you have the right hashtags. And by researching them, and we're going to get into that a little bit more too, it gets you more looks per post. It gets you more eyes per post. Boomerang, when you see these videos where somebody is doing the same thing over and over in a cycle, that is called a boomerang. And you could do it directly from Stories, or you can install the app on your phone. And if you get someone to give you just a little bit of movement, it'll make a little short repetitive video. And this is the app that they're using, is the Boomerang app. Hyperlapse is the next one. It takes a series of images and makes it into like a stop motion film. So I can take a series of pictures and make them into a video. It's really neat. You just have to play with it a little bit. Hootsuite is another great application, simply because it's one of the few things that allows you to schedule as much as you can schedule Instagram. It allows you to schedule. Now I say as much as you can. It doesn't automatically post like Facebook. You can post, schedule your stuff on Facebook and go about your life, and you know it's going to post on its own. That's not how it works for Instagram. You put your information in and you schedule it to post, and then Hootsuite will send a notification to your phone that says, hey, it's time for you to post. Are you ready? And if you don't click on it when you have the chance on your phone, it goes away. So you do need to be aware that it's coming enough so that you can tell your phone, yeah, go ahead and do it. That's just one of the things about Instagram. You have to manually do a lot of the stuff. It's harder to schedule. All right, you want to make sure it's unique. You want to share your own distinct view of the world, and you want to cultivate your own visual sense. If you are known for kitchens, may be your thing, and you may have kitchens in all of your images, or you may talk about colors or front doors or curb appeal. Whatever it is, make it unique to you and share it consistently. It helps build your target client and your brand. You want to use trends to market. This is one of the hashtags, Transformation Tuesday. It's perfect for before and after photos. And there are a bunch of them. Throwback Thursday, you can use an image that you've had before. Fun Friday, you can use more fun images. And there's a list of hashtags by the day I've included in the program down here. It's an active link. You just follow the link and it'll tell you what the most popular links are for each day, so you'll know what you have available to use. This is just an overall blueprint to optimize your profile. It looks confusing. It's not. All that it is a simple breakout of everything we've talked about so far in one page, so that you have the capability to just have the overview, so that you have it like a little cheat sheet you can go straight to. Okay, and you want to get behind the scenes. If you are doing work on a house and there's painters, it's okay to take a picture of the painters. It's okay to take a picture of the landscape guy. It's okay to take a picture, of what you personally are doing behind the scenes. Hey, I'm on my way to an appointment. This is what my car looks like when I'm, my office and my car is a mess. However you want to do it, it's okay to get behind the scenes. This image was used for a landscaper, showing them transporting one of their larger trees, and it actually ended up getting him a pretty great contract because the person who saw it had no idea they could transport like this, and it opened up some doors for him. So getting behind the scenes can be very beneficial. Okay, hashtags. You have to use hashtags to be effective on Instagram. You want to use hashtags. They need to be relevant. They even need to be popular. And the hashtags, studies have shown if you use them, people will look better. Or more. You have normally 5 is your minimum, and you can go to 10. You can do more than 10, but you need to be careful there. If you overdo it, Instagram may not post them, or it'll push them into your comments, and that's okay, but you can overdo it. And you need to keep your audience in mind. How would the audience I'm working with look for information? And you don't want to use someone else's hashtag. And for heaven's sakes, check them first. You don't know who's using what for what purpose. You can get yourself in trouble in a hurry if you use a hashtag that's used that has adult references or adult content. So please make sure you check your hashtags before you use them all the time. Go to accounts that inspire you and kind of get a feel for them. You want to be more creative, less literal. Check out your competition. Those hashtags work for a reason, and you have to experiment a little bit. You need to kind of find out what works for you. And you definitely want to search and make sure that you're using hashtags that are clean, that don't have a negative connotation. I cannot tell you how important that is and how much trouble that can get you in if you just use a hashtag that sounds good but you haven't checked out. Okay, changes to Instagram, and there have been quite a few. Now, I mentioned this before, you can now save an image, you bookmark it right here on the bottom of the image. There's this little bookmark, and then on your profile, you can see them all. They're right there. Some of the newer features, video is now longer. You now have up to a minute to have video. It used to just be 15 seconds, but that's really cool. And they've changed the algorithm where the most popular is what you see first. Just like Facebook, if it's popular, it's going to get more popular, which can benefit you greatly, but you have to have a few likes first for it to have some traction, so it'll show up at the top. You can now zoom out on an image just like you do on your iPhone or your phone. If you touch it and move your fingers, it will pull the image out so you can see it closer. You can save a draft. If you're part of the way through posting, you can actually, if you start to exit, it'll ask you if you want to save. You just tell it, yes, I do, and then it'll be there the next time you go in to post. Story tricks. There are stories are those things that appear across the top of your news feed on your Instagram when you log in, and there are some neat things that are now available in stories. One of them is the boomerang feature. It's now built in directly to stories itself. You don't have to actually have the app unless you want to for your regular post, but you can use boomerang for your stories because it's built in, and it creates motion. Again, most people have a 7-second attention span, and anything that has motion is going to get attention, and that's what you want. You have the capability, just like Snapchat, to have disappearing messages where you can send a message to someone and it vanishes after 24 hours. And that's one of the negative things about stories. You work really hard to get your stories done, and they disappear after 24 hours unless you download them and post them to your page. And you can do that, but the whole purpose of stories is that they're temporary. So, and we're going to talk more about stories too. You can now, some people have the ability to have ads directly built into their stories. This is, to me, one of the coolest new features. You get there through the reach option, and then you select story ads, and it allows you to, when you swipe down on a story, it takes you directly to a URL so that you can promote or sell for your business, which is so cool. Now, not everybody has this feature yet, so if you're interested in this and you log in and don't see it, just give it a little time. It'll show up before you know it. Stories is just about its own class by itself, so we're going to get into that a little bit more. And links and stories, where you can swipe down. If the story was you saw this on your phone, you would just take your finger and swipe it down, and it would take you directly to a URL. In this case, it'll take you to the blog. And again, stories is enough really to have its own class. So we're going to get into that a little bit more next week when you join me next week for my presentation on tools and apps. We're going to talk about Canva, stories, Hootsuite, and Evernote for sure. And I'm going to show you some of the neat tools and tricks that you can use to help your social media and make your life easier. Some things that will just kind of help you get through your day as simply as possible. And that's it. That's all there is. I appreciate you spending time with me today. I will hang out a little bit for questions if you have any questions. If you'd like to send me questions, or if it occurs to you later, here's my contact information where you can contact me directly. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you spending time with me, and I look forward to seeing you next week for Tools and Apps. Thank you.